Elliott for that exquisite song called Ashhoken Farewell. Some of you recognize it from the Civil War Kent Burns documentary. Good evening to all who are gathered here, those still coming in, find a spot, we're glad you're here. This concert community gathering is called Memoriam to the Trees That We Lost. Its reason for coming together is simple and twofold in nature: to show gratitude as Northwoods people for the beauty and wonder of the forest lands in which we have been very blessed to live all these years. And though highly scarred and altered, continue to live those good lives. Still, most of us in this room are mourning. We're mourning the trees that were brought down by the Derecho winds. And the second reason, though, is we're here to benefit from the people that have always done this: the artists, the musicians, the songwriters, the poets, and the visual artists, who have from time immemorial helped us to celebrate, but they also have helped us to collectively grieve. We're grieving our great trees that went down on that June 21st. Think of it, it's almost a month already. Storm late in the evening and early morning. We lost whole families, living things, grandma and grandpas, white and red pines and others. And as we all have said, many of us in this community, how different it would be if we had lost human lives, family members and neighbors. For that we are hugely grateful. How different this evening would be if we'd lost any human life. The teenager birches, the poplars, and even the youngest of the trees, they all came down. My husband and I live north of Bemidji, not one branch came down, so we have a bit of survivor's guilt. But we came in 2 days later. That storm passed over us. We heard the cracks of thunder, the winds, and then 20 minutes later, 120-mile winds. We were brokenhearted when I saw the big old-growth trees that had taken cemetery stones down with them in the Greenwood Cemetery. I got really choked up that second day after the storm. And I'm guessing some of you have also shed some tears. I, like you, was shocked and saddened deeply when I saw the horrific destruction on the east side of the lake in St. Ange neighborhood, the campus of BSU and Diamond Point Park and other areas. I could state facts about the 10-mile swath ripped to pieces, but rather than facts shared this night, this night, and you coming here, this is about our hearts, more than our heads. If I say thank yous tonight, of course I'm going to miss so many people, and yet you know who you are, sitting right in this audience. Still, here are some, and you know this. Beltrami County Emergency Management and its leaders, the city of Bemidji with all its agencies and departments, the fire and police forces, the United Way, Community Resource Connections, Red Cross, Salvation Army, the county and public health directors. The Red Lake Nation supported its own citizens as well as the Leech Lake Nation. And countless other heroes that you personally know, many being family members and good old kind, gracious, and hardworking neighbors. Let's show our thanks with a round of applause for the self-sacrifice, the professionalism, and the care of so many of our neighbors. I know a lot of you folks out in the audience, but I still should introduce myself, Kate Beliveau. I'm a retired educator, theater director, and my master's degree, and I only mention it because I'm going to say something. My master's degree is Natural Resources Environmental Ed. I spent decades of my life taking youth out of doors and teaching those enthusiastic selves about the natural world and, of course, our human relationship with living trees and the choices that we make. These choices we make and the impact that we have on this beautiful and complex planet, our home. We need to still reflect and take time in these times to think about that. The kids used to love playing this game. It was one of my favorite. It was called Build a Tree. And they would actively play the parts of the tree. They'd be the taproot, the lateral roots, the xylem, the phloem, the cambium, the protective bark. Yeah, the kids knew all those parts. And they learned each function of the wonder of a tree. And when you come to love something, then you come to want to protect it and appreciate it. I always believe my kids left those classes with that appreciation. Tonight we're going to kind of trade off mics with musicians and with our poets, and we also have beautiful visual art that I'll talk about in a little bit. I put this out. This was just 2 days after the storm. I said, I know Facebook is how people connect. That's not the same as us being in the room together, is it? Would you agree with that? This is better than Facebook? Better than Instagram? Better than TikTok? Human beings are wired to sit with each other. We have been doing that since ancient times around fires. So I put it out, and I kid you not, 1 hour after saying we should perhaps do a concert. Look who responded. And then some connections, getting some other folks in there. And I know you think we're kind of heavy on the female scene. You know, we got Marsh and we got Chris from Red Lake. We had a few other male artists that just didn't work out with their schedules. They had to drop out. So 1 hour and boom, the docket was filled up. Our visual artists also, look at the beautiful art. I can't help but notice Mary Teresa's beautiful panel back there. So Mary Therese, Donna Elena Habakakova, she's also going to do poetry, Leah Corcoran, and Rebecca May. So let's give a round of applause for our visual artists. They said, how can we also show our connection? And they did. I am very privileged right now. She had a hard time finding parking like most of you because there's also a play next door and Harmony has a big event. Lots going on downtown. So I'm so thrilled that she's here. I'm introducing Vicki Graves, a spiritual leader from the Red Lake Nation, to speak to you. Vicki.
Bonjour, bonjour, welcome. Again, I'd like to say Kichi Miigwech to all of you who are here and all these wonderful people who are supporting this beautiful and wonderful evening. When I thought about what I wanted to say, I want to do a prayer, but the prayer is going to be a little bit different than what we've experienced before. Trees are tribes. There's so many different ones, such diversity. The birch, the maple, the red pine, aspen, the cedar, all different. And yet they have something in common, their roots. And their roots are part of our beloved Mother Earth, Nimamaki, Mashumas, the grandfathers that were here before us, the rocks, the stone, all things that grow. Our grandmother Moon, Nokomis, Gigizes, who looks down upon us. So when trees are tribes, they also house other things. And when I thought about it, I thought, you know, the bird tribes, they lost their home too. All their nests, all their hopes and dreams of their next generation were lost too. And the squirrels love trees. And all of the insects, everything that lives in a tree, and the importance of the tree to us. So I felt rather sad thinking about the tribes of trees and thinking about all of the other tribes, the bird tribes and all of the other ones that also lost their homes and in some cases, sadly, their life. So tonight, as we gather here together, we can think of it as a prayer, as a time that humanity, human beings, can do great things. We are so capable of compassion and love, kindness and truth. So in looking at that, this morning when I said my prayer, I asked the Great Spirit, that of the energy of this universe, to come here tonight and to bless all of us and to be here with us as we hear the beauty of others and we engage in a moment of time where all of us have those roots in our beloved Mother Earth. Sometimes we forget that the earth is what sustains us. She can be peaceful and she can be wrathful. And her wrath, sometimes we have to come together to help one another. To every time, there is a season and a purpose under heaven. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck that which is planted. A time to gather stones together, to cast them away and gather them together. So I ask that our prayer be tonight. This is our prayer of us being better people, happier people, giving people. People who have humility, love in our hearts. The world needs that now more than anything. So I've asked the Gichi Manidu, the great energy that runs through all of us, to be with us and to heal us and to help us refigure how this town will look. We can always plant another tree, but we will always have the memory of those that were lost. So I want to share a little story with you. When I was a child, I loved trees. One of my favorites was a maple because I could climb it and nobody knew where I was. Another was a red pine. And I'd go out to that red pine and put my hands all over it and I'd talk to it. And I always loved trees. Trees were so special, they always will be to me. And one day, I had to go visit, I didn't have to, I went to visit an elder in Obashi, Panema, which is the village across the lake from us on the Red Lake Reservation. And this elderly woman had had a really difficult life. And when I went in, she sat me down and she said to me, if ever you're grieving, go to a tree. Talk to the tree. The tree will help you, and the tree will take away your sadness. And when I walked out of her house, it was this self-realization like, holy moly, my whole life I knew it, but I didn't really know it. And so I leave you with that tonight. It's time for us to cast away and gather. So, Gechi Miigwech, Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Vicki. A quote, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time, right now. Dennis Doden, a retired pioneer editor, wrote an article about this concert, and he let me know about a woman who composed a song about the loss of our trees. And she can give you more background. Her name is Barb Schubert, and her song is Elegy of the Lost Trees. Barb, and we'll get you set up here.
Give it up to Al Bellabo and Mike Taylor for the
First of all, I'd like to thank Kate and all of those who put this together, allowing us to come together as a community, because grief is easier to bear when it's shared. When we think of Bemidji, of our identity, we think of Paul and Babe, lakes and trees, big trees, tall pine trees, and Paul and Babe thankfully survived. The lake is still here, but the trees, millions of our beautiful trees are gone. We're all truly and deeply grateful that there were no injuries or loss of lives, but still we grieve. Like all of you, I was so sad. So after several days of grieving and feeling no relief, I turned to writing a song, an elegy, a song to mourn our loss, but also to commemorate the lost trees and honor them for what they meant to us. So I hope this song brings even a small measure of comfort. Lost our stately guardians, majestic towering trees. No longer hear the whispering of your branches in the breeze, swaying in the wind, holding your ground. But now an evil wind has brought you down. There's only space where you once stood, the pride and joy of our neighborhoods. We thought you'd always be here, but now you're gone. And part of us goes with you, though we are strong, we grieve for our loss. Beloved trees, you stood for so long. We took you for granted. How could we be so wrong? Beloved pines, sentinels through time, symbols of our identity, embedded in our minds. Future generations won't know what they missed. The sweet scent of fallen needles
canopy, skyscrapers of the North Country, icons of our identity. Beloved trees, you stood for so long, we took you for granted, how could we be so wrong? Beloved pines, sentinels through time, symbols of our identity, embedded in our minds. We didn't know how much we'd miss you. We didn't know how much we'd miss you. We didn't know how much we'd miss you till you were gone.
Quote, trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky. Now with an original poem written at the loss of his trees on property hit badly on the Mississippi River, Bemidji's own Renaissance man, Marsh Muirhead. And if you need to add any more, feel free, Marsh.
Just to add, it's more of an essay than a poem. So. I found out just a couple of days ago, it's kind of crazy that the different states have a different Arbor Day to celebrate their trees. Minnesota's Arbor Day was Friday night, the night the storm was approaching out of the west. So, isn't that amazing? In the first daylight hours of the morning after the storm, a very kind man who had been doing some clearing for another neighbor cleared my driveway and the driveways of other neighbors for no charge, saving us thousands of dollars, freeing us from being trapped behind so many immense fallen trees. It is in that communal spirit that we are here this evening. Later that weekend, we learned that there were no fatalities or serious injuries later that weekend. Some kind of a miracle that we were spared the human tragedy of the Texas flood or California fires. Still, we are grieving, sad, depressed by the twisted and jagged devastation. For many of us, the tree that greeted us every morning when we opened our eyes and looked out the window is gone. As are other trees, like old friends we've known for decades, shading our lawns, hosting our birds. We have lost our familiar horizons. Intersections don't look the same. We are a bit lost. With our variously treed parks and cemeteries, boulevards, yards, and gardens devastated. My favorite tree, a big white pine, standing over the Mississippi in my front yard since the Civil War. The napping place for a mother bear and her 3 cubs several mornings this spring is gone. My house and garage were spared, but there are more than 100 downed and shredded trees on my 5 acres, more forest than yard. After getting what seemed an outrageous bid of $27,000 to clean things up, I turned to philosophy and morning coffee, sitting amongst the fallen, talking to and listening to the trees. They reminded me of what trees have given us, our sailing ships and our homes for hundreds of years, firewood, the pencil and paper with which I first wrote this, chaga and maple syrup, aspirin from the willow, pine cones, acorns, apple pie, musical instruments, the birch bark canoe, nesting sites for the birds they hold in their arms. Did you know that one mature tree supplies one person enough oxygen for a year? Recall that the sound of the wind is the sound of the wind in the trees, the howl of winter wind through bare branches, hissing through evergreens, the leafy applause of greening in the spring. Did you notice just last week the blooming of the basswoods, that intoxicating scent that attracts the bees making their sweet honey? And have you heard of Pardo, a single-rooted aspen in Utah? 47,000 trunks, over 106 acres, all part of a single, as determined by DNA, tree. One tree, an organism thought to be 10,000 years old. The trees in our little conversation reminded me that what happened here happens every day somewhere in the world. Snowslides, landslides, floods, fires, tornadoes, drought, insects. Nature's nature is to be unruly. And the trees reminded me too that this storm is no worse than what we have done with agricultural deforestation, damming rivers, building deluxe ski resorts on mountainsides, sprawling golf courses, leveling forest lands to grow potatoes for our French fries, and creating new developments named after what is no longer there. Fox Run, Elk Hills, Pheasant Ridge. The downed trees are still of use, as is the way of nature. New dens for bears under root balls, brushy winter cover for birds and bunnies, more places for owls and woodpeckers to do their thing, as well as providing raw material for the future forest. But we can move on, united in our grief, but also united in planting and transplanting and protecting here and elsewhere the trees, as well as the birds and bees and bears and the clean water that we all share.
Thank you, Marsh. That was absolutely wonderful. I'll let Al do his thing.
My name is Taylor. Miller.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
an issue.
sure. I just got carried with thinking I need to help there. The quote, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit." Ann Anderson. Next up are two wonderful musicians, Christy Tell Miller, who is a Bemidji gal, and Matea Elhart. Are you a Bemidji gal, Matea?
Yes.
All right, so two Bemidji gals singing a song by Eliza Gilkison called Requiem.
This tune is also arranged as a choral arrangement by Craig Hella Johnson, where I first heard it in the wake of Hurricane Katrina and dedicated to all victims of natural disaster.
Mother Mary, full of grace, awaken have mercy on us all. In funeral fires burning, each flame to your mystery returning. In the dark night of your soul, your shattered dreamers make us whole. Oh, Mother Mary, find us where we fallen out of grace. Lead us to a higher place. In the dark night of the soul, our broken hearts you can make whole. Oh, Mother Mary, come and carry us in your embrace. Lead us to your gentle face, Mary.
Absolutely ethereal. Thank you, ladies. Next up is our beloved doctor and actor. I have to say this because she said the line, "All the world's a stage," in a Shakespeare play for us once, and a poet. And she'll talk more about the poems that she has chosen to read. Dr. Diane Pittman.
Thank you. Yeah, that was that one play I was in many years ago. Actually, two plays. So about 30 years ago, I was going through a very, very dark time in my life. And I had 3 mentors who all sort of told me the same thing at the same time. One of them was not so much of a mentor, but an example, Andrei Sakharov, who had memorized the Psalms and gave him solace during his time of solitary confinement in Russia. I also took a workshop from Michael Dennis Brown, poet in the Twin Cities. And he bemoaned the fact that, you know, we could all sit around a campfire and we would know a verse or 2 of many, many songs, but nobody knew poetry. And then finally, I had the chance to meet Madeline Lambo, who also talked about having poetry in yourself as part of your physiology, as something that you can feel and hold on to, and sometimes you don't have your own words. And as I've meditated and thought about what happened on the 21st, some of these poems that I've memorized have come up, and I'm going to share 3 of them with you because these poets have some wisdom for us and maybe a little comfort, and they've given me comfort during these weeks. So the first one is by a gentleman named Victor Hernandez Cruz, and he's well familiar with hurricanes, having been from Puerto Rico. And if you will recall, we were going to have Loop the Lake the following day. And we had a trailer that was full of bananas. And that trailer was destroyed in the wind, and there were literally hundreds of bananas strewn over the waterfront. And so I have to do this poem. It's called Problems with Hurricanes. A campesino looked at the air and told me, with hurricanes, it's not the wind or the noise or the water. I'll tell you, he said. It's the mangoes, avocados, green plantains, and bananas flying into town like projectiles. How would your family feel if they had to tell the generations that you got killed by a flying banana? Death by drowning has honor. If the wind picked you up and cast you against a mountain boulder, that would not carry shame. But to suffer a mango smashing your skull. or a plantain hitting your temple at 70 miles an hour is the ultimate disgrace. The campesino takes off his hat as a sign of respect toward the fury of the wind and says, "Don't worry about the noise. Don't worry about the water. Don't worry about the wind. If you are going out, beware of mongoose and all such beautiful, sweet things." It's good to find some humor in some of our situations. Rainer Rilke, great poet of grief. I love this poem. It's one of his sonnets to Orpheus. Where, in whatever blissfully watered gardens, on what branches, out of what tenderly unpetaled flower cups, do the exotic fruits of consolation ripen? Those exquisite fruits that you sometimes find there in the trampled meadows of your losses. Each time you come upon one, you marvel at the size of the fruit, at the tenderness of the skin, at its perfect fullness, how it has escaped the wantonness of the bird and the jealousy of the worm below. Are there trees, then, visited by angels, and so strangely tended by slow occult gardeners that they bear fruit for us without being ours? Have we never been able, we shadows and phantoms, as we go on prematurely ripening and then withering again, to disturb the equanimity of these serene summers? And then finally, this is a poem I never get to the bottom of. And it's one when I don't know what to do next, or when I don't understand what's going on. It brings me great comfort. And this is The Waking by Theodore Rothke. And I am cheating a little bit. I do have these memorized, but I'm a little sleep deprived, so I'm not going to try to wing it to this evening. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I fear my fate in what I cannot fear. I learn by going where I have to go. We think by feeling what is there to know. I hear my being dance from ear to ear. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. Of those so close beside me, which are you? God bless the ground. I will walk softly there and learn by going where I have to go. Light takes the tree, but who can tell us how? What lowly snail winds up a winding stair? I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. To you, nature has another thing to do, to you and me, so take the lively air and lovely learn by going where to go. This shaking keeps me steady. I should know. What falls away is always at his near. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go.
And another important quote. Trees, for example, carry the memory of rainfall in their rings, and we read ancient weather, and storms and sunlight, and the temperatures and the growing seasons of centuries. A forest shares a history which each tree remembers even after it is felled. And I think of the thousands of years that we lost when those trees went down. One of our poets, a gentleman named Ben Bauman, I've never met him, but he's one of those people that responded immediately, so I'd like to read. He had an opportunity to read in Chicago, so we don't have him here with us. So graciously, Tricia Andrews of the Headwater School of Music and Arts stepped up to read some Mary Oliver, And with her is Jonah Bergsman, and I'll let her talk a little bit more about what she's going to read. So our two readers.
Whenever I get a chance, I will pull out a Mary Oliver poem. So I nabbed this spot to be here in this fine company. And this weekend in particular, where the name of the poem is When I Am Among the Trees, I'm camping with my teenage grandsons as of last night. So I've gotten to be among the trees at Bemidji State Park, some that are toppled over, that those galoots of the grandsons were trying to climb up the angled trees and see how far they could get before they got a little vertigo. And the walk this morning with Ben through the bog walk, and just identifying the trees and seeing the ones toppled over and appreciating the beautiful young tamaracks that are still there. And finding out that those grandsons, their favorite tree is the blue spruce. So I'm curious to know, just shout it out. What's your favorite tree? What are you thinking of while we're talking here tonight? All of those. So when I am among the trees, especially the willows and the maple, equally the aspen, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
Our trees are inextricably woven into the fabric of our lives. This is a piece that I wrote 20 years ago. As Gary and I began to pick up the pieces of our forest, I remembered it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share it with you tonight. Scoring a Tree, a eulogy for our father, Morris Bergsman, who was also known as Bucko. Bucko lived from 1916 to 2005. His legacy lives on. We've marveled over the last many months at a man who took on life's challenges and came through by steadfastly living his life's simple motto, "You take it as it comes." We've witnessed through eyes shaded by sorrow as he struggled to maintain his dignity and successfully held on to remain the essence of his true self. While we admire Bucko for his extraordinary strength and courage, we're comforted to know that to take it as it comes also meant he was able to accept life's blessings and joys. He received so many. We're certain that for every blessing we kids and grandkids can count, each of you here can tell of 10 more. For now, I won't spend any more time expounding on Bucko's virtues. He certainly would say it's not necessary. Instead, let me remind you of just one of Bucko's simple pleasures. There's a tree that stands on the property where Bucko and the island built their lives together. You all know it. It's a perfect, enormous, ancient eastern white pine. Bucko was both proud and burdened by the sheer volume of needles and cones he was obliged to rake, bag, and haul in both the spring and the fall. Gary and Bobby remember the tree as off limits for climbing. Sarah remembers that when she was little, it took 3 of us to reach around its trunk, stretching fingertip to fingertip. George eyed it up in board feet. The Minnesota DNR encourages people to search for the state's largest native trees. They have a mathematical method for scoring a tree's size. Gary and I went back to Buckle's tree and did some measuring. Its trunk circumference is 117 inches. Its crown spreads 52 feet, and it's all of 80 feet tall. We calculated a score of 210. To our eye, it's enormous and superb. But the Minnesota record white pine scores 324. Our tree does not beat the record, but that's okay. It stands as a metaphor to Bucko's life. Being a modest man, Bucko knew he was not the biggest, the strongest, or the best of the best. But being a self-assured man, he knew he was our biggest and strongest and best. Even though our tree has lived 150 years and may easily stand another 150, it too will decline, shed its needles one last time, and then return to its source. And all is well. We take it as it comes. I'll close by telling you that Buckle's tree was taken by the wind.
Thank you. That's kind of what folks are feeling. Next up, the loss of the trees didn't just affect the elders and the middle-aged folks. It also affected our youth. And so I'm really thankful that now, kind of representing our youth, are two of our young people, Maria Leish and Natalie Corcoran, are going to sing a song called My Cathedral by Chris Rice.
Hello, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Maria.
As Kate said. And we're going to be singing My Cathedral, which has a representation of kind of the spirituality and connection that every human feels to nature and especially to the trees. And as kids who have grown up in northern Minnesota our whole lives, the storm affected both of us, not completely directly, but in our surroundings and in our mindset. And it's been really incredible to see how the community has come together to harness all of our energy into really protecting what we do have and trying to replenish what we lost.
And I think this song really shows what it feels like to look back on memories as a child who grew up surrounded by trees and kind of to just feel that connection.
Sweetest days of childhood, playing in the deep woods, stomping through the creek and feeling oh so much alive. Camping in the forest, join the cricket chorus, hum my songs of gratitude around a crackling fire. 'Cause out here in the stillness, I find my house of worship, the column trees and canopy of stars. Here in my This is where I find my soul, out where holy men of hope first knelt to soar. Thank you for the rain. Wrote the songs that filled the air. Herald angels sang their prayer out beneath your dawning constellations. So let me off and wander, robin song and thunder, surrounding me with stained glass leaves that change with every breeze. 'Cause out here in the stillness, I find my house of worship, the column trees and canopy of stars. Here in my cathedral.
These ladies are the future and it's looking good, isn't it? We're also in a play that we're putting on in August called 80s Tones, particularly connected to them. Here's another quote. Acts of creation are ordinarily reserved for gods and poets. To plant a pine, though, one only has to have a shovel. Aldo Leopold. Now, a dear friend who has homes in Slovakia, her ancestral home, and more recently, she has served as an art therapist to youth on the Red Lake Nation. My dear friend, poet, visual artist, and all-around lovely human being, poet Donna Elena Habrokakova.
Testing. Yes, my name's Alina Radchikova, and my elders have taught me really well. So before I start my poem, I would like to do an offering to Kate, Mashkiki Ukwe, Victoria Graves, our youth, such as our singers just a minute ago, Natalie and Chris coming up, and also to my Bubka, Anna Mae Lockery. I brought some cedar from Red Lake. I brought some, sadly, some sawdust from my 100-plus-year-old white northern pine, who I will just miss. I don't even have the words. And some bark. Nothing's possible without blessings. Rich. All right, so this poem I wrote the day after it happened. How many of you didn't get sleep that night? You were just terrified. Most of you. How many of you thought you might not make it? I mean, my God. So I wrote this the day after all happened. First of all, I want to say, I'm going to use the word stari stari. Stari stari is a Slovak word that means older than time, okay? And here I go. Birds only sing when they know they are safe. Ganja Devi. The birds are not singing. A derecho hits summer solstice, July 21st, 2025. Swirling, stoddy, old trees everywhere. 120-mile winds, and I thought, My God, this is going to be my last night with my standard poodle, Romeo. Waking up, I saw expansive trees strewn like pixie sticks, untethered, random chaos. 18 mature trees, elders, maples, my 100-year-old northern white pine, all in master yoga poses no one could ever achieve. I adored the sweet ancestor. I named her Bubka, after my Bubby anime. It was tipped over like a neon pink flamingo dipping its head in the water of my sanctuary yard. The birds are not singing, my daily companions. Red-bellied woodpeckers, morning nuthatches, brown thrashers, red-winged blackbirds, fluorescent pigeons and grackles, elongated, pileated woodpeckers. They were nowhere to be seen. And I wept, the birds are not singing. They sang to me all day long, day after day, and I was seduced in their bird calls and melodies, tranced, never tiring of them. They were my solace, my haven. The birds are not singing. Missing in action, my 3 black triplet squirrels, their mother, the wild rabbits, the chipmunks, all have come to a screeching halt, infrastructure down, Bemidji, state of emergency. The birds are not singing. A plethora of trees block our lake town line dead everywhere. No discrimination of any species. My dear, dear trees, how can I comfort you? I weep and I weep some more. We cry on the corners and at the local Harmony Co-op. We are like robots driving, watching the carnage from our rear view windows. Our sweet matigs, the standing ones. Dazed, hazy mornings, I wake up to this reality. This is real, right? Last night, we bombed Iran, and the trees died wounded, no rhyme or reason, how or why. My hands hurt, and tears weep from my fingers. Stoddy, old trees everywhere. My Bemidji, my Bubka, the birds are not singing.
Elena invited a young man from Red Lake to play. He's never played in front of an audience, especially this large and more of a formal setting. When he was practicing, I said, picture the audience is all sitting in their underwear, and don't be intimidated because this is a loving, supportive crowd, am I right? So Chris Jordan, he's been messing around with guitar. I'm really jealous because I wish I could play guitar. He's been messing around with guitar for 3 years. He's going to sing a song called Like a Stone by Audioslave. And I'm glad you're here, Chris. We'll get you set up.
Hi. Alright. I'm gonna be honest. A little too honest. I might suck at this, but I'll give it a try.
All the
Next up, a book that we're familiar with from our childhood by Charlotte Silverstein, Lisa Boulay with The Giving Tree. She even dragged in a stump, real easy to find these days, she said, to read The Giving Tree.
Lisa.
I wanted to read this book because I think we're all familiar with it. And I really lucked out in the storm. I live in Lavinia, and my whole neighborhood was just decimated with big legacy pines. I lost one small oak that landed a few inches from my front bumper. If I would have parked my car 6 inches closer to the garage, my car would have been totaled rather than just receiving a cracked windshield. I woke up and I heard my robins singing. I have 2 robin nests, One nest above the light on the back porch, and the other one nests in my grape arbor. And they showed me their resiliency to survive the storm. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. For Nikki. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day, the boy would come, and he would gather her leaves. He would make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb her trunk and swing from her branches and eat her apples. And they would play hide and go seek. And when she was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much. And the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older. And the tree was often alone. Then one day, the boy came to see the tree. "Come, boy, and climb up my trunk, and swing from my branches, and eat apples, and play in the shade, and be happy." "I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money." "Can you give me money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree. "I have no money. I only have leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money, and you will be happy." The boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time. The tree was sad. The boy came back, and the tree shook with joy. And she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk, and swing in my branches, and be happy." "I'm too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife. I want children. So I need a house." "Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house. But you may cut my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy." The boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time and came back. The tree was so happy, she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered, "come play." "I am too old and sad to play," said the boy. "I want a boat that will take me far away from here." "Can you give me a boat?" "Cut down my trunk and make a boat," said the tree. "Then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. And after a long time, the boy came back again. "I am sorry, boy," said the tree. "I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone." "My teeth are too weak for apples," said the boy. "My branches are gone," said the tree. "You cannot swing on them." "I am too old to swing on the branches," said the boy. "My trunk is gone." And the tree, said the tree, You cannot climb. I am too tired to climb, said the boy. I am sorry, sighed the tree. I wish I could give you something, but I have nothing left but an old stump. I am sorry. I don't need much now, just a quiet place to sit and rest. I am very tired. Well, said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could. Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Boy, sit down and rest. And the boy did. And the tree was happy.
So much, Lisa. A lot of us have not heard that since we were children. Now, an original song by a beloved artist from our community, Mary. Mary, if you want to add anything more, feel free.
I'll just add that this song was given to me by the lake about 15 years ago when I moved to town. That happens to songwriters. Lance Benson said that he was like, have you gotten it? Or he was introducing the song and he said something about the lake giving him a song. I was like, yes. Just, it happens. And this voice was given to my grandmother and all of the grandmothers before her. So I just felt like it's a time to share those gifts. There's a city by the lake shore with a river running through. Stand tall on its diamond point, yeah, the world comes into view. I thought I could only be here when the season's green and fair. The murmur of trees and be filled with quiet despair. still carry it all through. Oh, Bemidji, come on. Let's try that again. Everything's right. Sorry. I'm feeling it. You can see it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it everywhere. So it's not feel it how the song wants it to go. So please. Help me taste the pines, hear the eagles cry, and still carry it all through. Oh, Bemidji, come on. The crossroads of this and the shore brings this sea to the shore. Oh, Bemidji, come on.
Being here with all of these artists, I hope they're moving you down the pathway of some healing just by being in the room. Our final song is by another very beloved Bemidji artist, Memoriam, and she's going to sing Old Song, or excuse me, Old Boy, not Old Song, Old Boy. And then we have a few people that are going to pop up in the audience and kind of summarize how we're feeling. Feel free to hang out and talk and chat. You don't have to rush out of here. We've got it till 10 o'clock here tonight, so if you're not going anywhere, just spend some time with your neighbors and tell your own stories and how you're moving down the pathway. So, Memoriam, thank you so much for being here, Memoriam, and then a little choral reading from the audience, and we'll have a thanks again to the artists, and thank you so much for coming tonight.
You, Katie, for being so marvelous for our community. Appreciate you guys so much. Wow, when the lovely and talented Kate Devil proposed this event, I went looking for a song about trees. Some years ago, I was working for Beltrami County, right here, Beltrami. And I interviewed a man who was 98 years old. He had immigrated here from Norway as a teen, and he came across the ocean in 1913, a year after the Titanic. And he told of leaving his beloved mother at the dock. He never did see her again. And he took a harrowing, stormy trip across the North Sea. The ship stopped at the site where the Titanic had gone down, and they had a ceremony there. He settled in the community of Pinewood, which was a bustling town at the time. Pinewood had a store, a post office, and a bank. And I think the story on the bank was that it got robbed and burned down, and the case was never solved. So I would guess that would be a good story for some archivist here from the area to pursue. The town, of course, was built on the logging industry. And he said the pines were so dense that you couldn't tell if it was day or night if you were in the woods. So I wrote this song about his stories. And I was honored to sing it at his 100th birthday party. I call it The Old Boy. Old boy, you got those old boy eyes. They're faded and blue. And looking back at yesterday, pictures at your side of you and your bride, and in your eyes reflects another day. You've been working on the mines, you've been working in the farms, telling stories of the times when a younger man did charm with those eyes so blue and warm. Oh boy, we talk about the days when the folks fought for their place in a land so different and so new. Oh, for a moment to return to that place where you were born, but you were the kind to be gone, and you left your mother dearest, a young man you were fearless, climbed aboard that sailing ship, took a stormy ocean trip to liberty. At the island of Ellis stands she. Oh boy, now tell me about the trees that stood for centuries upon these hills, much like your homeland. And how under their canopy no underbrush you'd see, not knowing if it was the day or night time. The towering white pines, oh chip away, I'll go watching, how for miles and for dimes you sawed and you cut them shamelessly for to feed your family. Oh boy, and now you're in your chair, and your walking cane is there, and every day is like the last one. And though you wait for company of friends and family, it's many of these you've outlived them. And of your daughters 3, just one is stayed to see that you got what you need, and watching carefully, it is she who will your stories keep.
Those speakers that we picked out earlier to stand up. And Eric, are you up there in the late booth? No. Oh, now you gotta run. It's gonna turn on our house lights. So stand up, you choral readers. We're starting with Al Beliveau. This is your cue, Al Beliveau.
Oh, cool. Our lungs are...
No, not yet. Not yet. We gotta wait till we get the lights on.
But it was my cue.
I know, it's your cue. Can you tell we do theater and, well, no. We're gonna wait until those house lights. All right, you other folks, stand up now. You know who you are. Yes, put you on the spot. We're just gonna end with a very short choral reading. Then my artists are gonna stand up and we're gonna give them a raucous round of applause. Go for it, Al Beliveau.
Okay. Our lungs feel heavy and our breath shallow. A part of our world, our very being, has been lost to strong winds, powerful winds.
Read loud now, people. You don't have microphones.
They were our green lungs, breathing in the carbon dioxide and exhaling the oxygen that sustains us. They provided shelter, shade, and sustenance.
The earth, and even we wept at the grand elders trees dying. Thousands of years lost in each tree ring. Trees near our homes, in our parks, in the deepest areas of the forest. memories attached to men.
But even in loss, there is hope. We can plant new trees and protect the forests that remain. We can share wood with the sawyer and offer up heat to those who need it for winter fires.
We will remember you, lost trees. We're going to honor you and we're going to protect your legacy. Artists, would you please stand up and let's give them a round of applause. Spend some time chatting with your neighbors. Thank you again for coming. I appreciate it.